Hi everyone. Oh my gosh, we're here for the April energy update. So, time is compressing, if you haven't already noticed that already. I think we talked about that a little bit in one of Jennifer's and my videos, but it's really become palpable this year. I'm wondering if you have the same experience. We all have, it's interesting, we all have a unique journey within the framework of what's happening within Ascension. We don't, what I've been told is we don't all feel the same things at the same time. It also has to do with where we're at in our journey. So time, however, feels like, and I don't know this fully, that it's affecting everybody in this same way or similar. When we all of a sudden, like literally, I cannot have enough time in the day. And it's not that I have built so much into my day that I need the more time. It's whatever I have in that day that is typically manageable is no longer manageable. It's a really interesting journey right now with time. You know, we've talked about this for a long time, but again, I keep getting the word palpable. It's more palpable now. Like we actually are seeing this compression happen, and I don't know what that means moving forward, what that's going to look like or feel like. We are all experiencing it though in our own unique way. So some of us, and you could argue maybe people that aren't waking up yet are still living in their, what we call the conscious, or the, excuse me, the unconscious stage. Whether they're noticing any of this or not, I don't know. I do know we obviously, as you well know, start to begin to feel things very differently as we shift in frequency and dimension. So as we move in and out of our dimensions over the course of time in our day, because we do this thing, right? We're living in 3D in the material world. That's a song. In the material world, but we are bringing in different dimensional energies to live in our day, the higher dimensions, as we go through this awakening journey. So what I have been told is that time's different in those dimensions. And as we integrate more of those, I'll just say frequencies, there is a component that impacts time. So the dimensional shift, I should have drawn that into my chart that I did not too terribly long ago, but time is impacted is what I'm getting. Anyway, I thought I'd just start out with that little piece, and I wanted to share something else with you too. But before I do that, I want to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Carolyn. I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual and awakening mentor. And I offer these channeled messages for your awakening and ascension journey support. So check out purplerainhealing.com, where I offer all of my services to help you move forward in a more smooth fashion, in a more understandable fashion, also offering you channeled information for your journey and also practical advice. So check that out too. Thank you so much for joining me today. Also, one more thing, click on the link below in the description box if you would like more free content. I channel the Light Keepers, who are a group of angelic beings who started me out on this journey. And that's where most of my poetic messages show up, is on my email list. So you'll click on that, you'll get a free video on how to create flow in your body for health and wellness, and then you'll go to a weekly message on Fridays that I send out to support you for the week forward. That's what I use my email list for. I also have Facebook, Purple Rain Healing. Is that under? Yes, it's under Purple Rain Healing. So you could go there, and you can also get a couple messages a week as well. They're poetic, beautiful, supportive messages about the awakening and ascension journey. So that said, I have something else to share with you too that I thought you would find interesting. We might learn something from this journey I'm on right now. So and you can kind of still tell, I'm just getting over something. I got sick about a week ago, and I was able to still go through my day, but it wasn't fun. Chest, head, all that stuff, right? And kind of feeling like I had the flu, but not really. I probably had a temperature at one point. I'm not sure. But anyway, point is, the biggest thing was I had just got done a week before my illness saying to someone, you know, I haven't had even as much as a cold since fall of 2019. That's almost 3.5 years. And lo and behold, the minute I say that 3 days later, guess what happens? I get sick. I mean, what in the world is that about? But needless to say, it's been 3.5 years where I've not even had a sniffle, which is really interesting in my journey. As I'm going through awakening, I have noticed that my health is improved, but I'm also regularly over the last couple of years doing celery juice cleanses. So some of you may know who the medical medium is. The celery juice cleanse just showed up for me one day a couple of years ago, and I did that for 6 months last year, and then prior to that I had done it for 30 days during this period of time when I was super sick in 2019, which was a combination of a bunch of magical events. And I always say this, the universe brings you exactly what you need when you need it, and it clicks together really fast, and it's in your awareness. I've had a lot of these times in my journey, and I wonder how that works out for you, because as you become more aware to your signs and messages, all of a sudden, there will be something show up in your awareness, and you kind of just run with it, but you don't even know you're doing it until you've done it, or you're in it, and you look back and go, oh wow, that was divinely lined up. I always use the Rubik's Cube, like somebody putting it all together very fast. The universe does that for us at certain times. That's what happened to me with my original celery juice cleanse back when I was super sick, fall of 2019. Okay, so we fast forward now, and I've had many of those other events, like I just mentioned, the Rubik's Cube kind of thing. You can kind of think of this where like things just get put into place literally almost overnight, super fast. And all of a sudden you're looking from the outside finally and you're going, oh, wow, that was divinely brought to me. That was divine intervention. Well, this is what happened to me just this last week. And I won't go into all the detail, but I had been looking for a book to read. I couldn't find one that I really liked, and I realized, well, I have the medical medium books. I've never read them over the last couple of years since I bought them. I've glanced at them. I did the celery juice cleanse. I love his work. And all of a sudden, I start to pick up this book one evening, like literally not even a week ago. And long story short, I end up click, 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 all these things fell into place, including the birthday rule, or the birthday, I'll just say, special, which the medical medium talks about and says that the multipliers of 3 are the times to do these 369 cleanses when you have a birthday. I meant to say, when you have a birthday on the multiples of 3, which I have coming up. Multiples of 3, birthday. But within the 2 months before the birthday, it's more significant. It has to do with the liver regenerating and how the liver regenerates and how the liver's time to regenerate. And it goes in thirds and thirds and thirds. And so I was like, what? And I looked at the window of time that I have, because I'm actually going out of town next weekend, and I thought, you know, I'm going to go eat dinner and blah, blah, blah. I thought, when am I going to get this done before my birthday? Guess what? I have the 9 days. I had 2 days to prep for this. I have the 9 days until I go out of town. And I was guided to do the 369 cleanse, if any of you are familiar with it. And I'm bringing this up because I want to share with you my journey. Now, I realize I'm giving you this information now. This is my 3rd day into the cleanse. And then I will give you an update in my next video, which will be at least a week from now. And I'll tell you how it went, because the 9 days will be up. But I'm going to tell you a little bit before we get into the energy update for April about this, because I think it's important, and I think we all will be potentially guided to this at some point, because I now know why I'm being guided to this, and I'll share it. I'll share that with you. But anyway, so needless to say, I'm doing the simplified 369. He has 3 versions of it, and essentially you're eating super clean and pure, and what I'll just call vegan, with more restrictions. But it's great because you're really eating super healthy, which I kind of do already, but there's a lot I realize now, even into 3 days, I'm like, I need to stop doing that so much. Anyway, so what I wanted you to know is this is a spiritual cleanse, and he says that in the book. And I was like, I thought, well, that's because it's divinely brought to him, because he channeled all that information, right? Anyway, I realized it's actually spiritual for us doing it, which may seem obvious, right? But I kind of looked at it like a job. Like my first day, I was like, no, make the food, eat the thing, and get through it. Kind of get through it, right? No, that's not what it's about. It really, the way to do this cleanse, I've realized, is because for 9 days I'm eating completely differently, but I'm able to eat. It's honestly not restrictive in the how much you can eat, but for most of us living in a Western diet, there's a lot of things you're not going to be eating. Anyway, so I thought, I'll just get through this, and I was kind of like looking at it as a lot of hard work. Now I reframed my mind on that as I went into the first day, and I thought, this is a spiritual cleanse because I read this. And what I realized very briefly is it's not just about trying to cleanse your liver, right? Your body is a consciousness, as we've talked before. And your body's going to speak to you. And guess what? This cleanse, as we know, in the awakening journey, our stuff comes up, right? We talk all about healing all the time, right? We talk about healing held in emotions, inner child, past lives, all that stuff. It comes up. We talk all about how to go through that process. Well, guess what this does? This also brings up things that are deep inside that we may not have been aware of. And I didn't realize that until I realized I was feeling very different the first night, which was just a couple of days ago. I was feeling insecure. I was feeling like I was doing something wrong, like I shouldn't be eating like this, which is really strange because that's counterintuitive to what I know, right? But there was something inside of me that kept saying, I feel insecure doing this. I feel not out of alignment, out of the norm. Okay, I'm doing something different. I'm restricting myself. I'm changing my pattern. But the insecure feeling was what came up, and I did not feel good. So I went to bed that way, and I thought, I don't know how I'm going to get through these 9 days if this is how I feel. So I asked my team to help me understand this more, and they did. And they helped me understand it from the perspective of, guess what? Just like I said earlier, it's clearing out stuff, the things that we've held in ourselves. We may not understand where they came from, but it's clearing that feeling out for us to kind of look at it and go, oh, this is insecurity. Where's this coming from? Now, it would be really great to dive into that. Again, I'm only into my 3rd day, and my 2nd day, which was yesterday, felt great. I'm like, thank you, good, we're on it. I woke up this morning, I had the same insecure feeling. And I have had funky dreams. Now, mind you, this isn't bad stuff. This is all just like makes you very aware of what this spiritual cleanse, and I don't think there's anything like it, because where else are you getting something that's channeled like this? Anyway, my point is, and I was very much guided to him. Anyway, my dreams have been real wonky, and some of them have, actually, they've opened up my dreams. I actually have remembered the last 2 nights' dreams when I don't remember dreams at all. But I've had emotions come up, feelings come up. I think what's happening, I'm not kidding you, I think by the end of the 9 days, this is my upliftment period for March. Remember how March was an upliftment? How are we going to use this upliftment energy? Well, Spirit brings it to you. This is mine. I mean, I thought it was a couple other things. This is mine. This is mine. Showing up for this cleansing, and I can tell on the exit of this cleanse, I know this sounds weird, I'm going to be a different person, but it'll be a spiritual difference, and I also feel like it's going to ramp up my intuitive gifts, because they've been increasing over time. But I can tell that something is ready to happen, and I knew that this was meant to be, but I didn't figure it out right away, right? Like, I'm realizing, oh, this is a spiritual cleanse. So my point in this is I'm going to update you at the end of this when I do my next video, let you know how the rest of the days went. But it is definitely a cleanse to do during your awakening journey, and you'll be called to it if you're meant to do it, I guess I would say. I've never done a full cleanse in my life. This was just like an overnight sensation kind of thing. So I wanted to share it with you today before I get into the energy update. There's definitely purpose in it. It's my upliftment. It's my upliftment. And how I look on the, after the 9 days, I don't know. But remember, this is all internal. how I look. I'm going to look just like this. I'm probably going to act just like this. But things are going to be very, very different. So with that, I'll leave you with that. Just kind of contemplating that journey. Anyway, let's go ahead and move into the April energy update. However, there is something I want to share with you. This was last night when I was having my weird kind of dreams. I mean, I've never done psychedelics before, and if I wouldn't have known any different, I was kind of having psychedelic experiences. I know, isn't that crazy? But I wanted to share something with you that came through, because as you know, those of you who've been following me, I channel very prolifically. And when I'm in a half sleep state, I will channel even more prolifically, but I don't usually remember it. Well, I got my phone out this time. And this is a saying, and I said it over and over again, and I thought, I need to capture this. So check this out. Change is taking a long time, but it's happening really quickly. Okay, I think that's going to make sense to you. It makes sense to me. At first I was like, what? Change is taking a long time, but it's happening really quickly. That has to do with our time. What I was talking about earlier with time, right? It's just a big conundrum. It's a big, just ball of change is happening, but it's taking a really long time, but it's not. I mean, do you know what I mean? So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. It may sound a little trippy, but anyway, think about that for yourself. All right, we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to do a little wrap up on March, even though I am doing this the few days before we get into April, so that you have a chance to take a look at it if you want before April arrives. We had this upliftment period in March. We had a lot of solar flares. We've had a lot of water events exactly like that came through, which I think has been very interesting. A lot of water events, particularly on, again, maybe this is the division they're talking about in the United States, but then the East Coast have gotten snow too. But there's a lot of water events happening, snow, water, flooding on the west side of the U.S. We know that's been happening. We've had a lot of solar events occurring. Those are going to continue, and we'll talk more about that probably here coming up. So we've had a lot occur. We've also had what I brought through with the Caucasus situation, which again, I'm not bringing through a ton of detail. I'm bringing up major like headlines, I'll just say. And that has also been an interesting journey into that. I already shared about that. But anyway, so we've had this upliftment energy in March. And in the last video, I asked you how you're going to use it. How are you going to take your free will and use the upliftment energy? Are you going to use this time or any other time, right? Now we're just going to take a look at where that takes us. Because we've had the equinox last week, which, they just said was a platform. Oh, to fly. Okay, I have chills. A platform to fly. So we've all had this upliftment opportunity, and I don't know what it looks like for everybody. Obviously, it's very different. I mean, who would have thought mine would have been a cleanse? I mean, seriously. But everything can be an opportunity for upliftment, but we just have to be aware, right? What is it in our journey that has been an upliftment opportunity? And it might not feel that way. It might feel awful and icky, but it's upliftment. You may be going through some real struggles, but again, it's pulling apart and pulling out all this gunk for us, right? When we talk about upliftment, we always think of something positive. Well, remember, we got to have we're really working on the difficult things coming to the surface. So a lot of you may have had that instead of some wonderful, joyous thing that happened, because that's how humans tend to think, is we have a tendency to think, well, the word upliftment just means wonderful times, right? Well, it is. It's brighter times because we're getting rid of the old. So keep that in mind, all right? So remember, they've always said it's the upside down. So that even means lots of times with the meanings of words, oh, I just got chills. Whoa. All right, so what we've got here for moving into April, platform to fly is what they're talking about, a platform to fly. Okay, and then for the northern hemisphere, it's the springtime of your season, and for the southern hemisphere, it's the fall of your times. Oh, that's interesting. Both which regenerate growth. but in a different way. Because, yeah, because fall is the opportunity to start to regenerate. It makes so much sense because guess what? We have to have the quiet winter times to be able to have our spring times. Like we're regenerating in winter. That's so cool. And then the new growth happens in spring. But anyway, what I am getting here for, regardless of where you live, it doesn't matter. This is an upliftment time for us to be able to take this growth opportunity. They just said fly into the wind. Okay, they're talking about how you'll be supported as you soar with your wings of freedom in whatever way that means for you. Your freedom to live as the soul that you came in to live as is your birthright. For many of you, it's looking you in the face. For many of you, you can't quite see it yet. But your freedom is your soul speaking to you. Your freedom, okay, your freedom, what they're saying here to me is our freedom is this awakening journey. This is our freedom. We are finding our freedom. Again, we go back to thinking freedom. Okay, well, how do we have freedom in our daily life? How do I feel free? Well, I don't know. I need more money so I can travel more. It's kind of not that, but it all can end up manifesting that way, right? What they're talking about is the spiritual freedom. They're talking about the spiritual freedom to soar in April, to soar, and I'm seeing doves flying, to soar in April, spiritual freedom. So this is this awakening journey, allowing us to get through these held in emotions, held in, like, the stuff like that's coming up for me with the cleanse, right? So they're talking about soaring into our freedom space, soaring into, wow, this feels powerful. It feels like a lot of us are moving into this time where we, and I guess I can actually relate to this personally, where we're freeing ourselves from all the bindings of the material world in the sense of what holds us down. It doesn't mean we don't participate. It honestly doesn't mean, as I've said before, that we all go hide in a cave now and live. I mean, some of us might choose to go be a monk. I don't know. The vast majority of us are here to find our freedom within the confines, they're saying this, of what we have here on earth. But it's going to feel and look different. And this is starting now for us. 2023 is the year of creative expansion. So again, this is the spiritual freedom. They're talking a lot about spiritual freedom in April, the spiritual freedom in April. Oh, they're just talking about knocking down walls. And it's like, I see us, like, this is interesting. They're showing birds, like doves, like flying up and going, it's a flock, but it's like doves, but flying up and going into this, like, crevice. Like, it's almost like atmospheric, where they're all here, and then they fly into this vortex, and then they fly out. I don't know, that's such an interesting visual. But it's spiritual freedom is what I'm getting. And again, this is, when they say within the confines, it's we still live in our world, all right? So for example, we have the financial matrix within the larger matrix. We all understand what that is. The banking institutions, money's the thing, blah, 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 all of that. But what we have to do, and we learn to do, is work within that structure in a way that feels, how do I want to say, we have a new relationship with money. Money's one of the biggest constructs that comes up in the awakening journey. If you haven't had it come up, it very likely will, all right? Because these constructs will be here for us, particularly the ones that are our own issues that we carry with us. Financials have been my biggest thing. And I don't doubt that most of us have that, right? This thing that we've created with money. So what they're talking about is the freedom coming from realizing how you operate as a human within the world that you're in, but living in a spiritual manner, but still being able to participate within the framework of what, how do I want to say this? Within what the matrix has set up. Okay. But what they're talking about is not fighting, like fighting against it, but you find they just said a back door. You find a back door. Now, this isn't necessarily conscious, like you're going to say, well, okay, I'm going to do something different with my money, and it's not necessarily a material thing. It's how you think about money. It's how you feel about money. It's changing your relationship with money. It's trusting the universe, your spirit team, God, source, to know that you're going to be okay. It's doing the things you know you need to do to support yourself moving forward in this spiritual journey. So that's just one construct, right? But they're talking about the freedom showing up. Like, we're flying into this freedom space of where we're actually, oh, they just said the planets are aligning for this. Okay, I'm not an astrologist, but I'll just share that with you, with those of you who understand this. Where like we've let that go, and now this freedom opportunity. And again, remember, it feels, when I say these things, I always feel like I want to give really solid examples, but it's going to be different for everybody because it's spiritual, it's ethereal, but it will happen where your relationship, say for example with money, will show up differently. Mine has changed dramatically. What I will say to you is this freedom that you feel is that you'll start to notice is this untethering, is what they're saying. Untethering of the connection we've long had to all of these things. This is the further untethering of the old world energies. Little things will start to happen. The further untethering to these energies. How do I explain this? It's like we're going to pop. It's like we've gotten tight. You remember the two cells dividing and the connection between the two cells, how you see that happen? That's how they show the old Earth, new Earth situation. But they're showing like the tears happening. Like this bridge has been going on for a long time, right? Like there's a pop. Kind of like if you were, it's a pop. It's almost like, okay, they're showing this to give them the example. You know how little kids, baubles, they have those connectors, and you can go, you pop one out and they pop. I guess kids still have those now. Pop, pop, pop. So like pop. Something's unpopped. Something is unleashing us. This is crazy. I've not seen this before. As a collective of light workers, something is popping, like we're untethering. And this is why this freedom's coming in April. Again, it's going to look different for each of you because you all have your own journey and your own story. But it's an untethering to something. And this happens holistically too in our whole journey, right? And you feel different, you live differently, but you're within still the human journey, right? You're still within 3D material Earth, but you're living dimensionally different, which is what causes the freedom. So again, it's that chart that I showed you, but we continue to rise in frequency and vibration as we do our work, and as others come along into the awakening journey, they're a greater force too, right? So that helps us, because remember, we're a collective energy too, but we're doing this individually as an individual consciousness. So I have so many chills right now. So what we're showing is this, again, the doves, the moving through, it's real interesting, coming from like, almost like Earth or like a different plane. Oh, and moving through, they're showing a vortex, and everybody squeezes through this, and then out into this freedom. It feels like a gateway of energy. Oh, I just heard offered by the sun. Oh my God, I have so many chills. Oh, whew. I don't know what's coming up, but offered by the sun, or it's this, what's happening with the sun now, this upliftment that's happening, and because that's allowing us to find our freedom, our spiritual freedom. And you know, some of us may feel like we were there already. I mean, I certainly feel like there's a lot that my life has changed dramatically. Even though if you met me on the street from 10 years ago to now, you'd still have a similar conversation, because of course I'm not going to launch into spiritual awakening with you, obviously, right away. But the point is I'm different. I'm a fully different person. And so you're probably going to be able to look back on this too, but this is a culmination, is what they're talking about. There's a culmination coming of this next up leveling offered by the sun. Oh my God, I have so many chills. Okay, so I am getting an Earth situation though too. And we'll try to see what we got going on for April. Okay. So they're showing a connection, okay, with Earth. All right, it's because of the solar, wow, they're showing Earth and the sun really close to each other. I don't know what that means. Really close to each other. I just heard impact, as far as the impact goes. And they're talking about up-leveling. Okay, they're talking about Gaia soaking it in, the Earth soaking it in. Oh, for her health and well-being, which is why we're seeing all this crazy stuff happen. Intense weather. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world, weather-wise, and I'm not great at keeping track of much of anything news-wise, but what's brought to me is meant to be brought to me. We have had massive weather and snowfalls and rainfalls and storms in the United States, particularly West Coast, East Coast, Northeast, and we're having some spring weather that's not great right now. But the point is, it's a lot of water events. But I'm getting Earth very much close to the sun. They're showing that, and it's the impact that the sun is having. I wonder what April solar flares are going to be like. It just feels the intensity is ramping up because guess what? The sun is the key behind our ascension journey with respect to the energetics. That's where we're getting it from. Okay, maybe we all knew that. I never really thought about it, I guess. Okay, so let's just kind of get a sense of, so the sun's impact on the Earth is of great magnitude right now. They just said is of great magnitude. It always has been, but I mean at this time see, this goes back to that wild saying. What was it? I'm going to read it again. Because I just think it's fascinating. It goes, no wonder I got this today. I mean, it's the same darn thing. Change is taking a long time, but it's happening really quickly. It's so true. So the sun is offering to the Earth, I keep seeing them so close, this healing power, this healing, but we are probably not going to see it like that. Okay, they just said stay in freedom's path. Okay. How do I want to explain this? Stay in freedom's path. They're talking about staying in this spiritual path, this freedom's path, this idea of continuing to do our work, right? To keep this journey alive. Because what I'm getting is some of these events will be more maneuvering around. We will possibly see down the road a piece, someone being affected by something. And then we're not. There's a weird, they keep showing this vortex of the doves going through it. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's, I mean, it sounds kind of wild, like, oh, there's a tornado that hit my neighbor but didn't hit me, kind of thing, right? That seems to, that doesn't seem to make sense to me. But I am getting this sense of a different energetic pathway that we're on. Those of us who are on this journey wholeheartedly, we have dedicated ourselves to this growth, this spiritual growth, and because we're in a different frequency and dimension, I've said this before, we float above these things. It doesn't hit us. It doesn't hit us. I don't have any idea if that means the Earth events as well. I don't know. But I do know it certainly means some of the things that occur that aren't pleasant around here on this Earth plane. So take that for what you will. So let's just see if we can get a sense. They keep showing Earth and the sun. They keep showing like right here next to each other. I just heard dependent upon for her ascension, she is to the sun, as you are. Okay, which is also why they want us out in the sun. They want us to be able to recognize the sun. They want us to thank the sun. Gosh, this was very sun god-like. It's kind of funny. Thank the sun for the solar flares. So thank the sun for the solar flares because this is what is up-leveling everyone. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can get anything going on. Is there anything we want to share worldwide? Okay, they're talking about politics. Or not what you see. on the surface on your TV. Well, sounds like they're going to do a poem. Politics is not what you see on the surface of your TV. Okay, they just brought in the upside down again. Okay, they said, remember, it is not worth your time digging yourself deep into the strife and fret and worry of what you see on the surface, because the surface is the cover. What's going on otherwise is being dealt with at higher levels. Do not think all is lost, for you are the saving grace. They cannot take you away from this journey, for you are of mass and proportion and of light. It has not been seen before. They know of you. Oh my God, I have so many chills. Those here in power know of you. I have so many chills. Know of you. They know of you. Now remember, that's as a collective. They don't know your address. But then who knows? No, seriously. What I'm getting is everything we're talking about here is collective. But they know you. They know you and of your plan for success and this growth of your freedom and the change to the higher consciousness way of living that you will be living. And they know their time has come. But it will be days and weeks and months. But you will see and you will know and you will feel the energy bold. What you see on the surface is not, we say, for you, the light workers, have come to save the day. Okay, they're not done. What you have been told of the 100th monkey, we say, is real and true in your day. Enough force that it is, we find, remember, it's energy that you share from inside. You bring it to bear from the work you've done, the light you see, and the earth you wish to become. And now you take that step, we say, flying through the vortex. The flight of all of you light workers, we say, is of the saving grace we find. More and you, more of you, and more of you flying through in time. So they're showing, you know how birds fly in a flock and you think they're done and they're not? There's a whole bunch more, especially like starlings, and they just keep coming. This is what they're showing. They keep coming, and we keep going through this vortex of freedom. And we're reaching some new kind of energy, like new energetic platform that the sun's offering it. This is all tied together to stuff we've talked about previously, which is kind of amazing to me, right? So the sun is, I have chills. The sun is offering us this new opportunity for this freedom. Freedom's the word for April. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know how that'll show up for you, but it's because of this upliftment and all the solar energies that we have, and the work that we've been doing. And they just keep seeing whoosh, the birds just whoosh, flying through. And that's us, flying into freedom. And it's interesting because it feels like this is old Earth, and we're going through the vortex. But this is energetic. We're changing. And we're changing collectively, okay? So this is why every one of you is so important, right? This is why every single person is important. We can't have a collective without us individually. And moving into the new freedom space. And this, April feels like a huge time. Of course, energetically speaking. So one thing I do want to say, too, in closing, I talk a lot about the collective journey. I talk a lot about Earth and, politics and all of us as a collective. But what this boils down to is I know this journey can be difficult. And honestly, I've seen people go, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Now, I'm not so sure their journey will be that pleasant if they just turn a blind eye to it. I have no idea because I've never done that. But the point being is, people do turn blind eyes to the awakening journey. The problem is, what I want everyone to know that are going through the tough times is, we need you. Every single light worker matters. Every single one. Embracing this awakening journey, no matter how hard it is. Embracing it, reaching out, getting the help you need, talking to others, creating community. All the things that you can do, because there is community out there, right? I mean, we're a community here. There's help here, right? there's assistance, there's leaning into the discovery and the exploring of all of this. But at the same time comes the work that digs up the dirt. Or, I should say, digs up the things we've buried under the dirt. And again, like I said, it's happening to me. And I think it's happening to me now with this cleanse for a clear reason to move into April. Again, this is my upliftment. You're going to figure yours out. My upliftment to move into this space in April that's going to create a freedom for me. And how that turns out, I don't know how that will be individually. But remember, it's an energy, and how we each use it is what makes a difference. Is going to be different, all right? It's not that, oh, everybody's going to experience X, Y, and Z at the same time, and this is the thing you're going to experience. It's your journey, but it's within the framework of the energies that are brought to the collective, if that makes sense. So I guess the last thing I could do is, we talked about it individually, what you can do. I just want to see if we have anything earth-wise, because the last 2 months information came through that we want to talk about before we finish up. Again, this is kind of predicting the future, but I'll just give you if they give me anything and see anything. Now remember, what I see now is what is prevalent in this moment. You know, I always tell everybody too, when I do channeled work for them individually, I do past, present, future, and we talk a lot about how they can work through their own journey, and we work on things as they want to work on things, and we bring them to the session. But when I bring anything through for the future, what I always say is this is a high energetic potential that I see now. It doesn't mean drop everything and follow that one path. It means it will unfold for you as it's meant, should it be meant to, and depending on other people's free will. Additionally, if you feel like, oh, this is a synchronicity for me, then it's a synchronicity. It may be something that just adds to the impact of something you're already doing. So I just wanted to share that with you. But anyway, that's what I will also say for this if I bring through global future events. So let's just see if we've got anything here. I think we did already start on that, and then I got off track, which can happen when I channel. So we were talking about politics and, okay, and how they cannot stop us. Exactly. But let's just go back and see if we've got any. Okay. Where do you want to show me on? They just said the word catapulting. Oh, Russia and the United States. Oh, bouncing the ball back and forth. What does that mean? And again, I don't know because I don't keep track. Okay, they're using the word catapulting. They're showing a launching back and forth from the United States to Russia, because they keep going from the northeast. This would be D.C. to Moscow is what they're showing. Bouncing back and forth, bouncing back and I don't know what that means. They just said who's going to catch the ball. I don't know what that means. I guess I'll quit saying I don't know what that means. Who's going to catch the ball? Who's going to catch the ball? They just said the underbelly of what's really going on. Not what you see. We just said that earlier. Not what you see, meaning on the media, right? With media. Okay, so they're talking also about that they're so busy, meaning our governments. And remember, not everyone in politics or in any particular line of work is in the underbelly. There are light workers everywhere, I will tell you that right now, because I've met them. It's fascinating. So keep that in mind when I talk about this. But I'm getting the ball bouncing back and forth. Who's going to catch the ball? But when they're talking about the underbelly, they also kind of show that they're so wrapped up in themselves of trying to control who has power and what power there is, that like we're escaping notice. I know that doesn't even seem like that makes sense. We're escaping notice, but I know they have a plan to keep us in check, meaning light workers. But remember, it's a multi-layered, multifaceted plan. But this is this freedom thing I'm seeing in April. But I keep seeing them busy with like maneuvering like really old earth stuff, like old earth ways of power and patriarchy and all the dopamine I think that's that's what, I mean, that causes, like, I'm just getting patriarchy, but it's like they're spitting fire at each other, and then we're sneaking out in a secret pathway, which is so interesting that they're showing this. So they're using more metaphors rather than actual things that are happening, but they are showing a ball bouncing back and forth between, like, Russia and, because you know what they're talking about too is all this impacts I mean, those two countries, among others, obviously, but really impacts so much the rest of the world. Like, oh, I just heard the word hamstrung. Yeah, for sure. Oh, I just heard, but that's coming to an end. Oh my God, I have so many chills. Balls being bounced and passed. Balls being bounced and passed. Now China's showing up, but I don't know why they're not really. They're showing up over here, but we got Russia and the United States doing their ball bouncing, and who's going to catch the ball? And they're still talking about the events over in the Ukraine and the Caucasus region unfolding. They just said hands are not off there. They're bringing this through because this all has an impact for some reason that they want us to know about. I don't know what this will look like. Again, they use lots of metaphors, riddles. Okay, so let's just move on from that, and because not everything is politics, because we actually live around that. We work around that as light workers. And I think many of you have started to notice that, like the old framework of the way it's working. Okay, let's just see any events. Okay, Earth will continue. We've talked about that. Okay, I just got the words massive flooding. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bring through, like, things that aren't pleasant, but we know what's happening. So this seems obvious, that because in the Northern Hemisphere we have spring, and we're going to have a massive melt. We're going to have flooding. I keep getting mudslides. This may seem obvious. So just keep that in mind. It kind of seems pointless to channel Earth information, but because we just know, like, it's unpredictable day to day. I keep hearing she's healing, as you are. Okay, so remember, as we go through this awakening journey, we're healing. So is she. So we're doing this together, right? As we do this, we help her, is what I will say to you. What I will say to you as well is, if you can get out and share your light with nature, rather than being behind our four walls that we're often in, if you can make a point of doing this regularly, it makes such a difference. I can speak to that from the point of knowing people who do this for a major part of their awakening journey, what I'll call mission, that they're just very aware of. I also do land clearing, and oh my gosh, it's powerful. I didn't know I did. It was just something that happened to me. But my point in this is it's a real thing. It's a real thing where we are needed on the land. We are needed where we're meant to go. Our journeys, our travels are important. We may be planning a vacation or a little weekend jaunt to go do hiking, and we're not even thinking about anything like this. We just want to get out. Oh, you're going for a reason, okay? Where you choose to go, you're going for a reason. Keep that in mind. Keep your energy high. Keep doing your work. Keep embracing these times. And they just keep showing the sun and this freedom coming in April. However that looks like for you. Remember, it's going to look different for everyone, but we roll up into the collective. Just like my example of my upliftment. It's coming through a cleanse, and I feel it. I know it. I understand partially what's going on, but I don't know how I'm going to look when I'm done. I don't know what that means for my journey, but it's giving me a new freedom, and I'll be done on the 31st of March, going into April. What are the chances of that, right? So this actually did all tie in together today. I didn't know that my cleanse story would tie into this, but it does. So, as they say, everything's connected. I hope you have enjoyed this today. Like I always say, take what resonates, toss the rest aside, but we really have a theme here. I love the doves, that visual. It's a beautiful thing. I love this whole idea of moving into this freedom energy, this freedom space. Remember, this is wave upon wave upon wave, just like they showed with the birds. Think of it like that. When you're done seeing the starlings do their swoopy thing, there are more of them behind coming. And that's always the way it looks, at least here in Iowa, because we're a flyway. And it's amazing. It's amazing. That's us. And we're going through the vortex into this freedom space. I have so many chills. So thank you so much for joining me today. Check out purplerainhealing.com if you'd like to work with me. I help you through your awakening journey, your ascension journey, and your life journey in whatever way you need me to help you, along with channeled information and practical advice. So whether you choose a channeled individual session with me or you want to do the mentoring with me, I'm here to help you. I also offer distance energy healing, powerful sessions that also include channeled messages if you desire. So if you'd like some upliftment, if you'd like some more assistance in grabbing on to these opportunities that we have moving forward in this journey, I am here to help you. I would absolutely love to work with you. Check out purplerainhealing.com where you can contact me through my website. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.